Alright, how's it going, guys? We are back, and I am currently making some normal rubber pipes here. And I went and picked some dandelions, which we're going to use to make some dye. So I can dye these yellow, because these are going to be for our sulfur dioxide. As soon as this gets done here, there we go. And I'll save the rest for later. We're going to start with 32, see how well that works. And let's go get busy. So we had a live stream the other day, and I started on another batch of, I got another batch of black steel made a batch of rose gold. So let's kick this on, and we're going to make some red steel. I also noticed that because we had this going, the redstone going directly to that light, where this one it's going to the block behind it, this one I had hooked up directly to the light, it was actually putting redstone out to the hopper, so I have moved this over to the block behind it, and now it works great. We had a 8-hour stream on Monday. If you haven't seen it and you'd like to, I'll put a link up in the corner there where the map is. And we got our new building made for our acid. You'll see I decorated the doorways a bit more. I took the door out over there and moved it over here, which is up a little bit higher, but it works. Also piped this up, so it is now getting our lignite coke and delivering the dark ashes back. And it's been running for quite a while, got us lots of tin. I need to get that piped over to the wall, but I want to get ultimate first, because those pipes are already over stressed from the shredder. Here's the inside of our new building here, which is where we're going to do all our acid work. But before we can get started on that, we need to get some fluid into this tank. And that is sulfur dioxide. And to get it, we're going to use a roaster, which I made in live stream. And we're going to use solid fuel for right now, only because I want to use up some of the lignite coke that we have. We could use gas, but we're going through a lot of lignite coke right now to get us germanium for circuits later on, which is also getting us lots and lots of sulfur, and it's also getting us some coal, which I have also started doing a lot of regular coal over here, which I probably ought to turn that back on soon. That way we have coke for iron. We did go in the live stream the other day and mine up a bunch more black sand, which has given us over 6,000 in there. So we are making iron again. I need to go do some mining of garnierite so we can get some more nickel. We're quite low on nickel, so we're going to need that as well, because we need to start making a lot more stainless steel. But let's go ahead. Oh, I went over there also to get my wrench, and the other part we need for today So first off, we are going to use an air vent. Now, I could use the oxygen that we're creating out there, which I will be eventually. I actually had my wrench on me. And there we go. There's our roasted quest. So let's take a look at that. And so this should be under stainless steel. There is the roasted quest. It wants a bronze drum, bronze fluid pipes, or Invar and Invar. I'm actually just using rubber for the pipes, but we do need to make the drum, and I'll explain why here in a minute. Actually, I will show you why here in a minute. There is our drum. And now, so we have a roaster here, and items are going to go in on this side, out on that side. This is going to be the output, and that will be the, wait a minute, I think I just said that wrong. Yeah, this is the output. This is the input. Now, there's a good chance we will probably need better pipes than what we're using here, but we're going to try this way first with just a regular rubber pipe. But I will show you can also take the air vent, stick it right on the back, and we should start getting oxygen in, or air in here, not oxygen. Big difference. Oh, wait a minute. Yep, there it is. So you'll see we got 256 units of air by putting it on the back of the machine. The problem is, you noticed how long it took for it to do it. Well, that is kind of the same as we keep going here, that it will instantly try to fill the inventory that it's on, but it only does it ever so often. And I'm sorry I can't tell you what that actual interval is, because I have no fucking clue. But we should now have lignite coke delivered, which we do. So if we turn this on with the sulfur in there, you'll see we are making sulfur dioxide, and it makes it pretty fast, which is why we're using these rubber fluid pipes that are large or normal instead of small, because we need a lot of room to put this in there. So we're going to go ahead and turn this off for a minute, because I need to actually get this piped over real quick, and we're just going to be wasting fluid here, or coal. And I'm going to take this one out through the roof, right through my head. There we go. That'll take care of that. And now I'm going to run that on over and connect it up right here to this pipe. So give me a minute. I'm probably going to have to get a few more pipes for this, but I will be right back with you when we are all hooked up and ready to go. And by the way, you'll notice it's not connecting. That's because the tank has not formed yet. See, no multi-block controller. That's because the valve is facing sideways instead of down like it needs to, because I put it on the bottom. And I will deal with that in just a bit. Anyways, I'm going to get this piped up. I will see you in just a minute. Alright, just getting the last couple pipes in here. And I got one extra. And there we go. It is now complete. So now let's go ahead and fix the tank. There we go. That is taken care of. So now we got our magnifying glass here. Capacity 1728 as it should be. And we should be getting fluid from here to there. Not sure why it didn't say there was any in it a minute ago. Huh. Sulfur dioxide. It's all... Oh, because remember, it didn't connect. There we go. Now the sulfur dioxide is going in there. Okay. So, now, stop throwing things on the floor. We can go ahead and start this back up. You'll see we're still full on air. Light it up. And it is trying to keep up, but not quite possible. But you'll see that we're going down on air pretty decent here. And that's why we put it on a drum instead of on the machine. Is because it can't keep it full enough, especially if you do this in blocks. I normally put the sulfur here in blocks. It won't be able to keep up. So if you use a really good sized pipe and you put the air vent on a drum, it'll be able to fill up 64,000 liters every time it tries to fill, rather than whatever little bit that it can take here to go back up. But right now we're not too worried about it. We have plenty of sulfur dioxide for the moment, so we're not going to bother with it, but we will definitely want to do so, and to do so is rather easy. All we need to do is take our crowbar here, pop that off the back. I'm not going to use that. I'll use this for now. And then we just put the drum on top, connect it there, and put our air vent right on there. And then that will try to keep this full rather than trying to keep just the machine full. And the nice thing about this is you can actually put like 4 or 5, depending on how you place it, vents on that drum to try to keep it filling even faster. But I'm going to have to take and run a pipe over, which I'm probably going to change this over to storing blocks so we don't have to send quite so much at one time. And then we'll just do it as blocks. Come on. Thank you. But you'll see if we put this in here, it'll slow down on its processing because it's doing 9 times more, but it'll put out a lot more each time, 9 times more. So blocks is a bit better in my opinion, but I'm definitely going to need a better output pipe. But we got to get more rubber. And right now I'm not too worried about wasting fuel because honestly we're just using it to get rid of some of this. But I will run a pipe over from the sulfur. We're going to redo this wall probably the next time we do a live stream and get it to where we can automate more things out. I would need to find molybdenum so we can make ultimate. We do have a little bit of molybdenite here, but not a lot. If we look at this here, I got this from processing cassiterite. But if we look at it in the roaster, one of them is going to give us 3 tiny piles of molybdenum. So we have, what did I say, 70? So we'll say 60 divided by 3, that's 20. That's only 20 molybdenum, which isn't bad for what we need, but we definitely need much, much more. And this is where I'll point out the difference between using air and using oxygen and why we're not running air for our ores. We're just running sulfur right now. If you look at air with molybdenite, it says 80% each. So there's a chance of getting one of these tiny piles each time. For each of those 3, we have an 80% chance of getting it. So there's going to be loss when we do it this way. It does give 2,000 liters of sulfur dioxide. There's no chance on that one. If we go over and we look at oxygen, though, it doesn't have that chance. We're guaranteed to get all 3 and the 2,000 liters of sulfur dioxide. So you want to use oxygen with any of your materials that you're processing. But if you look at sulfur, because it does not have an output other than the sulfur dioxide, you don't have to worry about loss with your air. So using oxygen and sulfur dioxide will give you 3,000, or using, we'll go look at regular air, will give you 3,000. So there's no benefit of using oxygen with sulfur. Just using oxygen with your regular materials. And seeing how all of our oxygen is currently coming from this electrolyzer, just doing our cassiterite and garnierite, we don't have a ton of it. So rather than setting it up right now for running with oxygen, which we have 616 of currently, we're just going to run sulfur from air. Now I will set up a second roaster right here next to it, and that will be what we use for our tetrahydrite, our molybdenite. We'll also run arsenic pyrite. We can run that through the roaster, which will give us hematite and arsenic. Excuse the fact that it says hematite. What it's actually giving you is iron oxide 3. But iron oxide 3 and hematite have exactly the same chemical makeup. So Greg just calls it hematite. It annoys the shit out of me. But there you go. This was part of Greg's last iron nerfing, because apparently people thought being able to roast pyrite, or no, that's actual gold, pyrite and arsenic pyrite and tetrahydrite was too good for getting iron, and so therefore you now get hematite instead, which you then have to further process. And so we'll run all of those, which we'll get hematite out of. I'm not worried about running those currently, because I'm not going to be processing hematite until we use sulfur dioxide to do so. This is what we'll be using to process our hematite right here. We'll actually be running it through a bath with hydrochloric acid. Actually never seen this one before. So we can actually, this must be a newer one. So we can bathe it in aluminum, molten aluminum, turn that into alumina, and get molten iron out of it. So the oxygen bonds with the aluminum and leaves pure iron and alumina behind. And then we can run the alumina back through to turn back into aluminum. That might actually be a better way of doing it than this one, which was a real pain in the ass. We're going to have to look at this time when we get to aluminum and see. Because the way I have done it in the past was running it through with hydrochloric acid, which makes this ferric chloride and water. And then you take that ferric chloride and there we go. You can do it this way, where you have to put an iron back in with it to give you 9 ferrous chloride. Or what I prefer to do is this one, where you take the water that came out, you mix that with sulfur dioxide, which you do need to add some water to this, because it needs 3,000 liters here. And when you make this, you get 2 batches of 4 with, oh no, you got to clear some water from this. So you're going to have extra water from this. That's what it was. I knew it was one way or the other. But you'll have too much water, so you only need to use 6,000 for the 2 batches of 4. So you're going to have 3,000 extra water. But use sulfur dioxide, which we're going to have tons of. And that'll make it the ferric chloride into ferrous chloride, sulfuric acid, and hydrochloric acid. You only get 2 units of hydrochloric acid, and we used 12 to make the 2 batches. So you're only going to get 4 of the 12 out. But we can always use the extra water, and when we take the ferrous chloride here and we run that through a smelter, this is why we're not doing it, because we don't have the smelter. And then we run that through the electrolyzer, we will get chlorine back, which we can add to the water and make more hydrochloric acid. Now, the major issue with that is that we're going to end up with extra sulfuric acid. And other than using sulfuric acid for making our hydrogen fluoride, which we're going to be needing to do, and we can also use it to make nitric acid eventually when we get sodium and potassium nitrate, probably from niter. There's also making potassium bisulfite, which we're actually going to use the salt to make, oh, this is from potassium sulfite. Never mind, ignore that one. We're also going to be doing this recipe, which is getting us potassium bisulfite from sulfuric acid and salt. It doesn't matter if it's salt or rock salt, you're going to get potassium or sodium bisulfite and hydrochloric acid. And either one of those will give you hydrogen and potassium persulfite or sodium persulfite, which we will be using for bathing different things. A lot of stuff is going to be like copper based. We're going to be running through there, but we'll get into that way later. But other than those few things, there's not a whole lot for us to use our sulfuric acid for that we can't do an endless loop with. The only thing we really can do it with that will use it up is making dynamite dust, because we don't get it back from there, but eventually we're not going to be able to make enough dynamite dust to eat up all of our sulfuric acid. And then the other thing that we can do with it is, this is where we would be using it for the dynamite, because we have to make glycerol, which does give us a little bit back, but not a lot. The other thing we can do with it is we can eventually get to where we can break it down and get sulfur and oxygen back out of it, but it's a really weird bunch of crap we have to go through to do so, and it's not really worth it that much. We'll also be running our chromite through. No, not chromite. That's not the one I'm looking at. Galena, we'll run that through our roaster as well. There's a few other things. When we do the next live stream and we start sorting all this stuff out, everything that can be run through here, I'll put in one little area. Cobalite, that's another one we can run through. This will give us cobalt and arsenic again, and sheldonite for platinum. But anyways, that is our roaster and our way of getting our... Why is there no oxygen in that? Oh, I know why. There we go. Forgot to hit it to send it out. So anyways, I'll get this all piped up, and in the next one we will start making our sulfuric acid over here in our new building. I just got to get some stainless steel made to get a tank to store it in. And then we can actually get started on our steps to get to aluminum. This is one step closer, guys. So, with that, I will see you guys next time. Have a good one. Take it easy. Let me know if you have any questions.